So, Professor, thank you for taking the time to answer me some question as an MBA student.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna ask a professor not to be a professor anymore,
Yeah.
just to be very educated in all aspects, man, who are telling all the people out there what an MBA is useful for, because this is the main purpose of our project. But first of all, tell us about you.
Certainly. Now, I am a former HR professional. Have gathered substantial experience in the application of HR in the luxury hospitality industry, which is a very labor-intensive industry. And this allowed me really to understand, the deeper workings of HR, how employees feel best at work, their well-being, their challenges, issues of performance management, and of course how this links with the fundamentals of organizational behavior, because actually, HR is justified in its existence by the theory that we teach, by the way, in our MBA in the first year, which is understanding organizational behavior. So with this precondition, with this understanding, with this antecedent, then in the second year we go deeper into the HR application, which is exactly the module that I teach. And I can tell you that students appreciate the fact that I have the background as a professional for many years, almost 20 years of experience in the business, meaning that I'm blending this academic knowledge and critical understanding of things with a deep understanding of what's going on out there in the real world. And I think actually the students are appreciating that.
Yeah, one of the main critics of the MBA programs all over the world.
Yeah.
But the critique is made by those who are not here doing the MBA is that you people are too academic. And I'm telling them, maybe we are academic because this is how an MBA program is supposed to be.
Yes.
But we meet a lot of people with practical knowledge. I mean, you yourself, you work in all over the world. You weren't the tourist there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I can say like my personal path, which, by the way, according to the British academic system, welcomes very much former professionals. This practitioner, the exposure to the real business is something that the UK academic system very much welcomes. And I'm so honored and lucky of being part of University of York, City College University York campus, exactly because it embraces this understanding and gives value in its education by making sure that students are exposed to what is the cutting-edge knowledge blended with a true understanding of what is going out there in the business. So yes.
Talking about your specialty, HR, I'm a marketing guy, and I know that generational marketing is mandatory now. You have to understand the generation you are trying to sell something,
Yes.
Otherwise it will be useless.
Yeah.
And talking about marketing, talking about the generation Z, talking about the alpha that is coming,
Yes.
talking about, I mean, it's, I do not want to hire people anymore, something like that. So are we learning at this MBA? Cool, man, cool down.
Yeah.
You have to do things.
True. I mean, we are living in particularly interesting times. Like, I'm a positive person. I'm not like say, oh my God, these times. No, the times are particularly interesting because nowadays the workplace is particularly diverse. We see the coexistence of many different generations, and Gen Z coming to join the organizations have its own peculiarities. Yes, we understand them, but it's very important, most important, to see what businesses can do in order to win their trust and understand their concerns, which are definitely justified in a sense. I mean, nowadays generation is sensitive to the environment, to the environmental situation, social injustice. They expect a governance which is trustworthy, which is authentic, which is solid, and therefore I recognize that they have a very very important and justified, if you wish, concern, and organizations have to be ready to show to this new blood joining the organizations that, hey, we are here to understand your case, and most importantly, in this complex, highly uncertain and challenging world, the leadership of the organization is ready to take charge and protect you in developing within our environment in an organic way. So in other words, the new workforce, but I can tell also other generations, not only this, but certainly if now more than ever we expect management to walk the talk. And as you said before, I have experience as HR manager, and I understand how employees out there in the industry expect that management to walk the talk, not just this narrative. We have really to demonstrate our commitment to what we say. Yeah.
You know, before coming to this MBA and doing the HR, the organizational behavior model, yeah. I was like, HR is about hiring people. I mean, HR hiring, it even sounds like it hires people. And then I understood that this is one of the things I love about this MBA. It puts things in a new perspective, a theoretical one, but it opens something in my mind. Yeah. So it was like this. It was HR is about attracting, selecting, and keeping people. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is so easy. And then we have to attract one job, to select other job, and to maintain other job. Yeah. Okay, now I understand. Yeah. I needed to be in this MBA program, and being almost 50 years old, to understand something that easy.
Yeah. And I can take the conversation a bit further. Nowadays we talk about employee experience. Same as we have the external customer that we are serving, so about customer experience or user experience. By the same token, the employee is the internal customer. We have an employee experience to consider the employee life cycle, and to consider that as all relationship with businesses, the employee joins the organization. At some point, they leave the organization. So as friendly as it all started, so friendly the departure has to happen. So there is a life cycle, and organizations need to know that all these aspects have to be managed successfully, because this is going to be developing a positive reputation, is going to be reverberating the labor market, and of course benefiting the overall profitability of the organization. So it's very deep, and the modules, because I teach both the first year understanding organizational behavior, and second year HR policies and practices and performance development, is the fact that we have to focus on providing value to the experience of the workforce. We have to know the fundamentals and know how we need to care for all the different stages, such that there is coherence, consistency in the message delivered to the employee, and the whole experience is perceived successfully. It's a very delicate process that requires interest in the human element, in the human capital of organizations. We have to really ensure, and that's exactly my personal aim, is to ensure that my students, as they leave the modules, come out thinking that, hey, we need to reconsider our attention towards employees, and this attention has to be consistent, has to be close, so as to be able to spot any sort of unhappiness, any sort of prompt of disappointment, because it could be something personal, it could be something professional, but because it has an impact on the professional output and the performance of the employees, we have, as organizations, to take care of this. I mean, if an employee is stressed out because of some family issues, we have to educate them to take the personal aspect away from the professional aspect. If there's an issue at work, we have to educate employees to cooperate with each other. So if there is also a question of stress, we have to understand that maybe that the company is featuring jobs which are stressful or demeaning, and we have to reconsider the architecture of jobs making up our organization. So that's why with my students we go to the fundamentals of job analysis. And nowadays, considering the incredible developments, especially with the introduction of AI in the workplace, whereby famously has been noted out that now we're going to be co-bots. We're going to be working with the bots, so we're going to be collaborating with AI. Jobs need to be reconsidered, and of course, in so doing, we have to maintain and to foster trust, because AI has to be considered as a tool and not as a threat. So you see, there are all those instances that affect the sentiment, the feelings, the emotions, the engagement of the workforce, and that's something very delicate. And we have to show care for that.
And because the program is called, what we are doing is called What an MBA is Useful For, let's imagine that you are an HR manager of the MBA program, and I'm a future employee. So what do you say? What do you sell me?
In order to...
The MBA useful for my friend, come work with me because let's do this.
Certainly. It's useful because it opens your eyes as to what is the state of the art in terms of HR, but also what are the practical cases that you are exposed to. So basically, our MBA is not focused just on the theory of things. It's also very much on the applied side of things. That is the huge value. And most importantly, we debate things. So it's the blend between the theory and the practice and the examination of different aspects of HR from an applied side, and looking as to what is going on in the market, both in the positive and in the negatives. I mean, we bring in class cases of particularly like poor HR applications. So basically, you will come and we will open your eyes on successful HR application, but also very poor HR application, and we're going to be looking at the consequences of poor HR application, not only from a humane standpoint, but also from a profitability standpoint. One case I make is that when we talk about HR, we do HR not only because HR is also a philosophy, we care for our people, but because it makes total business sense. In the middle to long term, but what we are meaning here is that these programs gives you a full understanding of what needs to be in place and what is the full swing, the full series of tasks that we need to do in order to ensure that the sound application of HR is in place. So yes, again, in this scenario of me being HR and you being a graduate from this program, that's basically your question, right?
Yeah.
So as a graduate, I will certainly appreciate the fact that the program will have opened your eyes to the cutting edge knowledge, together with substantial and critical cases that will have opened your eyes and will have really persuaded you as to how to apply HR the appropriate way, and also offer you the confidence of being a sound HR professional. So that is basically the confidence that I will have in you, having graduated from this program.
Yeah, you just said the very right word, so to speak. Confidence is what we gain a lot from this MBA program.
Yeah, and sorry to interrupt you, but also the fact that the way we teach our MBA is very dialectic, very open. And I can see in class that my students oftentimes change their viewpoints. They understand that, for example, arrogance is not acceptable anymore. Nobody can say, I know it all. Cannot be. We need our employees. We have to have in place systems of voice, whereby employees will open up. And if I have some general manager, because my classes have, managing directors, we have CEOs, all these people have, they are assertive people, and certainly by going through these debates, I understand that they have to kind of scale down, understand that employees need to be included, so the arrogance or any posing is not helping. We have to change the paradigm, and I think that this is also I would say a behavioral change I see, because we speak about ethics, we speak about the authentic application of HR. You cannot fool, because let me tell you one thing. Even though we educate our managers, our students, in the cutting edge practices, they ultimately will go to their businesses and apply. And their knowledge will be put to the test by people that, even if not educated formally, maybe they've not gone through the full scale of education, yet they've graduated from the school of life. So people know very well where you are fooling them, where you are not true, when you are false. They see there is a disconnect between what you're saying and what you're doing. So the very, very fact that people don't open up, don't criticize, maybe is a wise choice for them to do so, because they understand that it's safer for them to survive in the company, better to shut up. But they have very, very clear idea in their mind what is going on in the business. And in this highly competitive world, where we have global competition, there is no luxury of saying, doesn't matter. No way. We have to be close to our workforce, because the competition is extremely cutthroat, and we need each and every human resource to really contribute. No one can be left out. We cannot have this luxury anymore. Yeah.
I have a friend, this is very interesting. I will tell him, I will show you the interview and tell him, look at what a great professor tells you. You're right, because he says, I'm not the CEO of my company anymore. I'm the CTHO. And I said, what? Chief Therapist Officer.
All right, yeah.
Because he understood that his people, his employees, need somebody to talk to about a lot.
We can use a lot of figures, figurative metaphors. A general manager, the CEO, is a coach, is a mentor, is a protector, is a orchestra conductor, making sure that there is an harmony. Because, mind you, yes, I am, my specialization is HR, but I'm totally respectful of the finance, the marketing, R&D, and all other functions. But the question is that the company has to give the due authority to HR when it is due, and accordingly, it's the duty of the CEO to give the tempo and allow for HR to be listened to. In as much HR listens to the others, it's a question of coordination, and this leads to our next observation, that what actually is HR at the end of the day. HR is the HR department, HR is the system, policies and practices. HR is also a philosophy, actually. We are focused, we give value to our people, to our human capital, HR is something which is very fluid, and the quintessence of HR is demonstrated by the line managers, by the supervisors. It has to be a shared approach, and that's why it's very important, and I'm so happy that we are educating so many managers, because they have to understand, they have to be on the same page, so that employees joining organizations meet a whole organism whereby the people in the higher ranks speak the same language. They are focusing on the HR importance. So this is very, very crucial in a sense. So it has to be a shared approach, and that's why your friend is talking about, because he is an HR focused executive. He's a person who believes in the importance of the human element. Now, call it as you like, talent, call it human capital, call it people, whatever it is. We have to be true, because there are some companies that say we do HR, ultimately they don't give value to HR, they're just doing personnel. When you talk HR, we talk about giving value. All right, so, and that's something that we are day in, day out, assessed, judged by the people that receive our services.
So guys, if you thought that HR is something very easy to understand, come to our MBA program and you'll see that it's not, it's very complicated, but with professor like this one beside me, things will be not easier, but easier to understand. So thank you very much, Professor, for taking your time. This was very relevant. So I'm hired.
Yeah, for sure, big time.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks for the time. Thank you.